Come on.
How about now?
Hello?
Yes, okay, we got it this time.
Is this Robbie?
Yes.
We're having
Whoa.
some kind of difficulties somewhere.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me you heard us the other times, but we couldn't hear you?
I didn't hear you, no, but the phone rang.
Wow.
Weird.
That's awesome.
Yes.
All right, well, sorry for the delay there.
How's it going, man?
Don't worry. All right, how are you guys doing?
We're pretty great.
Pretty good. I'm Dustin, and this is Ton.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello, Dustin and Ton.
That's right. Glad we figured out how to use the phone here.
Well, you know, that's one of the things that makes us sort of this high on the evolutionary ladder. It's the ability to sort of conquer those sort of problems.
That's
You're
true.
right.
And
He's right about
we
that.
almost didn't make it to the next rung there, but...
Yeah, well, you know, that opposable thumb thing. You know, every time the dog can't get out of the house, you know, I go, haha, you bastard, this is why, you know.
So, since we got you on the phone here, how would you like to be asked a few questions?
Sure.
Excellent. Well, we'll start off and ask you how you got started in acting.
I don't want to answer that question. No, let's see, I was, you know, I was a ham when I was a kid and, you know, told my parents it started as, I want to be in a monster movie, I want to be in a monster movie, I want to be in a monster movie, because I was really obsessed with the 1930s, you know, Boris Karloff's, you know, Lon Chaney Jr. movies. And my parents were like, he's funny, a little hammy kid, that's great. And then that eventually became, I want to be in a movie, and then they said, why don't we take him on an audition, he'll see how boring it is, and he won't want to do it anymore. And then I got the first audition, and I went, hey, I really liked doing the work, and it was a lot of fun, and, you know, I like being in that environment and all that stuff. So then I got the next one, and then I got the next one, and then the next one, and, you know, by that time, my parents were like, crap, he's actually doing this, and I don't know, maybe around, 8 or 9, by then I'd done like 60 commercials or something. My mom was, you know, the one driving me around, was going, like, really, I don't want to do this anymore. Let's yank him out of it. And my dad said, look, you can't do it now because, you know, you don't want to show a kid that, you know, he's good at something and he shouldn't be doing it. So, and then now at every Thanksgiving, I still hear my mom go, 11 years of my life gone driving you around. Thank you, Mom. That's my mom, everybody, you know.
Whoa.
Wow.
That same thing happened to Ton, and that's why he works in radio now.
Yeah. She don't want to drive me around anymore.
I kind of work in radio. What, were you a kid? Is that true? Were you a kid actor?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. Yeah, because I have a little radio show too. I'm on something called New Dissident Radio. It's, you know, internet thing, and I have a show on Mondays at 6 p.m. I'm doing the little thing like you guys are doing too.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you on terrestrial or are you on the web?
Terrestrial, we're FM radio.
Right on.
Well,
you're really going to the show. I'm just, you know, I'm playing in the sandbox.
Yeah, well, we're streaming online too, so it's the entire universe, pretty much.
Right on. somewhere on a distant planet, because, you know, those radio waves go way the hell out there.
Yeah.
Somewhere on a distant planet, they're like, who are these two guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, when we forget to power down the transmitter, it just bounces all over. So.
Yeah.
Well, after your mom was driving you around, how did you manage to wind up on the set of the Brady Bunch?
There was going to be a spin-off of the Brady Bunch with Ken Berry called the Kelly Kids, and you know, it's about a divorced or widowed father, and he's raising, you know, 2 boys. And I read for that, and I did well, but the problem was Ken Berry's a brunette, and I was a little towhead guy, so I didn't get that gig. But when the network kind of strong-armed the Schwartzes into you know, maybe doing another year of the show, they said, you know, these kids are all getting a little long in the tooth. Why don't we get a new kid? And the Schwartzes, who were really done with it at that point, they're like, you know what? Why don't we just go out while we're on top and be done with it? And the network said, I have an idea. Why don't you guys introduce a new character just in case we go another year? And they went, well, why don't we just walk away when we're on top? Back and forth. It goes like that. And finally the network, I guess, prevailed. And so they were going to bring in this new character, and I, from what history says, it was like 500 kids read for it, but they remembered me from the Kelly Kids, and I guess I read well enough that I pulled it down. So, you know, then here we are, you know, 40 years later, and I'm talking about it.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty crazy thing. I mean, you know, it's a part of, you know, it's the Brady Bunch's Archie Bunker's chair. You know what I mean? It's a real part of our culture even now. And if you think, how is that possible? How many television shows, say, from 1970, you know, between 1969 and 1973, how many shows have really stuck in the culture the way that one has? And it's a handful at best. Maybe Newhart, Mary Tyler Moore, maybe. Not many though. I mean, that's a really cool thing. I mean, a lot of people in their lives don't get such a thing. They don't get such a thing to that they don't get a ride like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It was something cool to be a part of. Do you remember what was it like on set, or was there any weird, interesting stories that you remember? Or
Not really. I mean, I was 9. I mean, I was a kid, so basically, I was glad I didn't have to be at school. But I mean, there was dumb stuff. Susan, broke my face one day. If you look at the last couple of episodes, there's like what looks like a herpes sore on the middle of my lip. There was a teeter-totter incident where she sort of sent me sailing over the bars, and I landed on my face on the teeter-totter, just totally slid down toward her, splitting my face open, blood everywhere. We were just laughing about that the other night. It was hilarious. I mean, but other than that, I mean, it's a work environment, and so everybody's, pretty much pro, and, I mean, everyone's super friendly and stuff, but, and any of the sort of Robert Reed weirdness that they talk about, I wasn't privy to that, because, I was 9. I was just like, happy I'm not in school,
So you weren't getting it on with any of the Brady girls then?
No, I have a rule.
If you don't mind us asking that.
If you're going to ask me a question about the Brady Bunch, you have to ask me one I've never heard before.
Okay.
Yeah. No, did you do Cindy crap, because, I didn't even have pubic hair yet.
Well, it was the 70s.
So unless you want to talk about child pornography, which I think is illegal, you can't really ask me that question.
Well, how old was she back then?
She was 12.
Oh, well, see, then that's perfectly...
She might have been 11.
I think that's fine.
You'd have to ask her about the pubic hair thing, and you know what? I dare you.
Well, do you have a number for her? We could reach her.
Actually, she'd probably laugh. Susan's a very twisted individual. I rather enjoy that about her.
So how did you find out that that was being canceled and everything? How was that?
I didn't. All I knew was, I did my 6 weeks, and and then they just can't. My mom one day said, "Oh, the Brady thing is done." And I went, "All right." I mean, it wasn't as. I mean, it was a hit show when it was on, but it really only got stupid when it went into syndication. Because then the show was on 3 times a day. It was on at like 7 o'clock in the morning before school. It was on at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon after school, and it was on at like 7 o'clock after dinner. So there were some people that saw these shows. They watched every time it was on. So suddenly they caught some of these shows 7, 8, 9 times, and all of this sort of kitschy, trivia stuff sprung up with it. Because at the time it was really just another TV show, and for me it was a 6-week job. I mean, basically. It was, let's say you had a summer job where you work for 6 weeks at Burger King, and for the rest of your life, people are going, "Oh my God, you were the dude behind the counter in 1973. That's awesome."
Well, I mean, it's still residual checks maybe are good.
No. That's before the new SAG rules. No.
Nothing?
I get nothing other than the joy of talking about it, which is fine.
So here's another personal question: you're not getting it on with the Brady girls today, then, either?
Why is that so? Let's say I was. What's the big deal?
I'm just saying. I hope that you got.
And also, why is it so important to you? And why do you have to keep driving at it? I don't understand what you need from this. Is this sort of masturbatory fodder for you? Or are you going to go home and is it going to make shower time fun time for you? Thinking about me nailing one of the Bradys?
That could be for Dusty. Yeah,
that's.
That might be it.
We're recording this, so I was hoping.
In that case, this is going to be one of the weirdest interviews ever.
But it seems
we're talking about Dustin's weird sexual proclivities. Yeah. Nice.
But it does seem that you keep in touch with the cast. Then is that right?
No, just Susan. Susan, we live in the same city still, and I mean we had talked to each other, off and on since the show, and we went to the same high school. Although she was older than me, she graduated by the time I got in. But, I mean, we've had this sort of like, we're both Valley people, which is, I always say Los Angelino by birth, Valley by the grace of God. And so we've had this sort of, connection over time. And sometimes a couple of years pass, we don't talk to each other. But then ultimately, somehow, we end up talking to each other. So it's mostly Susan. Every once in a while, I like autograph conventions, which we've done. I'll see the other ones. But, they're off doing their thing,
Well, nowadays, does it bother you that when people have kind of low ratings in shows towards their tail ends and they bring in little kids and they call it the, Cousin Oliver syndrome or whatever, Does that?
Wait, why would that bother me? They're talking about a character that basically what this does is it ensures the fact that no matter how crappy my own personal career is going, somehow I'm always in the back of all these people's minds. That's pretty badass.
All right.
It would be great if I could make some cash from it, but you can't have everything. Yeah, so I think the whole Cousin Oliver syndrome thing is awesome. The Onion newspaper has used the Cousin Oliver character, and mind you, I say this knowing that the character the character itself has a life of its own. It has nothing to do with me anymore at all. Cousin Oliver is an idea now more than an actual person or even a character on a TV show. It's this sort of idea of something that represents something that is about to go away. And so the Onion, I think for the past 4 presidents, they have done an article the last 6 months of any presidency saying Cousin Oliver to join the Clinton White House, Cousin Oliver to join the Bush White House. It's crazy. It's a really hilarious thing, and I think it's a really funny use of that character.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely standing up to some time there for you.
Again, it's almost 40 years since I did it, and that's unbelievable. It's still we're still on the phone, the 3 of us, and we're talking about something that I did for 6 weeks when I was 9. That's insane.
So after the Brady Bunch, you did some voice work and some things, and did you?
Voice work didn't show up on the scene until, 12 or 13 years later. In the meantime, go to my IMDb page. That's not even complete, and it reads like a shortened version of War and Peace. I did a lot of guest appearances. I had 2-3 other TV series since then. I'm on one now. I've been really lucky that, and I will say, unlike most of the Bradys, if not all of them, I managed to still have a TV and radio career, voiceover career, even to this day, and I don't think you could really say that about any of them.
Yeah, I suppose.
Which is weird for the kid who only worked on the thing for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So I did 3 Chips episodes. I was on The Love Boat. I did 2 years on Mary Tyler Moore. I did a series with David Hartman called Lucas Tanner. I was on a kids TV show called Kid Video. I was on another kids TV show called Big John Little John, done by the Brady Bunch people. I did, I've probably done 300 television commercials. And then around 22, the agency that I was at had a print department, a commercial department, and a kids department, and a voiceover department. And the voiceover department, whenever they needed kids, would go to the kids department and say, "Hey, we need kids for this." And I started working at that, and that turned into a whole other 30-year career where I started picking up those things out over and over and over again. So I got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies from that. I did. There's an animated movie called Balto that Steven Spielberg's company did. I'm in that. I'm in a Disney Junior thing that's coming out next year called Doc McStuffins. I've managed to eke out a career somehow. Defying the odds of almost everybody who ever goes into entertainment. And definitely it's an industry that eats its young. And I haven't been arrested yet, and I haven't killed anybody yet. So I guess there's a lot to be said for good parenting too.
Besides all the acting and the voiceover work, you're in the music biz.
Music existed. It kind of coincided with it. It's just that I did so much high-profile TV stuff that any of the music projects that I've done, nothing ever. You really got to hit really hard to reach something that is at the public recognizable level of the Brady Bunch, But yeah, I've been playing music the whole time, and I produce records, and I'm about to go to Spain to go produce a band there, and I'm playing with a band called Your Favorite Trainwreck, who we're doing a tour back east at the end of February, and somebody told me a long time, if you're going to be in the entertainment business, don't specialize because you'll starve. So I may have sort of taken that a little too much to heart, but because I'm working on a web series called Mr. Happy. It's kind of a crime noir thing that I'm writing. I've directed videos, which I'm about to direct one of those. I produce people's voiceover demos. I don't know. I like entertainment. I like all of it, and I'm not qualified to do anything else in the real world, so, onward we go. I'm going to do some more stuff.
Yeah. Well, do you have some kind of projects you're working on now, or anything upcoming?
Yeah, well, let's say, like I said, do that one of them googly searches for your favorite train wreck. I play with a group called Nice Guy Eddie. There was a band in the 80s called Translator, had a sort of a lunchtime, new wave radio. They still play this song. It's called You're Everywhere That I'm Not. The guy's name is Steve Barton. I play with him. I do a bunch of stuff. I play with I've been going to Spain a lot. I'm actually somewhat known there. I play with a band called the Mockers who do a lot of tours over there. So I've been, for the last 10 years, I've probably been there six or seven, 8 times, something like that. And I've been producing bands there now. And I just go to my Facebook page. I'll fill you in. Like I do so much stuff. It's really hard to kind of nail it down to. Well, I'm kind of doing this.
Cool, man.
Yeah, I got the radio show. It's called The Spoon. It's on newdissidentradio.com. So kind of me and my friend from Nice Guy Eddie and another buddy of mine, we just basically sit around and talk about nothing for an hour.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, we have a similar format, I think.
Yeah, totally. We just sit there and go, wow, what's pissing you off this week? Oh, me too.
Well, that's great, man. Do you got any parting words for us?
Yes, if you're going to talk to any celebrity, no asking them who they fucked.
All right.
All right, thanks, man.
That's noted.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Sure, well, that was fun.
All right, good luck with all the projects, and we'll be looking out for you.
Beautiful.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.